What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video, I'm going to be reviewing a 2011 movie called The Change-Up. This movie stars the funny Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. These two are the main stars. I got introduced to Ryan Reynolds watching a couple of times National Lampoon's Van Wilder. Very hilarious movie. I think this guy's very funny. Jason Bateman, also in this movie. He has been in a few funny comedies. Identity Thief was one. Jason Bateman always plays pretty much the same guy in every movie. He's kind of a straight-edged guy, you know, finds himself in a world of trouble, and he's got wit, that's for sure. I'm definitely. Some supporting characters in this movie. Leslie Mann is in this movie. Olivia Wilde and Alan Arkin. So anyway, this movie got a 25% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, because this movie was so much better than a 25%. But I'll get into that a little later. But anyway, this movie's about two best friends who are kind of drifting apart. Their names are Mitch and Dave. Mitch is played by Ryan Reynolds, and he's pretty much what you'd expect from a Ryan Reynolds character. He's an underachiever. He's hasn't really done anything with his life. He's a struggling actor. He is the complete opposite of Jason Bateman's character, Dave, who is a overworked lawyer, you know, father of 3 kids, has a wife, you know, played by Leslie Mann, and this is just two polar opposites. So anyway, these two one night go out and watch a baseball game at a bar. And they get drunk, you know. You're at a bar on a night where you're off, and they get drunk. And in their drunken stupors, they think to themselves, you know, I'd like to have Mitch wants to have Dave's life, and Dave wants to have Mitch's life. So how they get the lives switched over is an absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Ridiculously funny. They pee into a fountain in New York City. They're based in New York City. They pee in a fountain, and basically they both say at the same time, "I wish I had each other's." Or, "I wish my life was different," something along those lines, you know. And when they wake up the next morning, they are shocked because, lo and behold, they actually have each other's life. They actually have the other person's life, basically. Mitch has Dave's life. Dave has Mitch's life. And from there, there's a lot of story to it. Mitch has Dave's life. He takes over sort of as the very, very overworked lawyer. You know, he has a lot of responsibility now. He's not an underachiever anymore. He has to overachieve to support his wife and kids. So he definitely has to juggle along that responsibility. But Mitch, or Dave, who has Mitch's persona, he doesn't have any responsibility at all. He doesn't care. He has to navigate, you know, he has to basically navigate being a party guy, you know, an underachiever, you know, struggling actor. Basically what Mitch, Ryan Reynolds' character, had. And as you'd expect, these two really do play against type. Ryan Reynolds is more reserved. You know, Ryan Reynolds playing Dave is more reserved. whereas Jason Bateman, plays Mitch. He's more of a definitely an underachiever type character. The ones that Ryan Reynolds is definitely famous for playing. And they really start to realize at a certain point in this film that their lives, the lives they want to have, they have, their different lives are not as rosy as what they saw them to have, Mitch is, very stressed out. I mean, he has responsibility now. He has to take care of a wife and kids. He has no idea about the lawyer stuff, He accidentally, actually, his incompetence with the lawyering position, it gets them out of a merger. They're supposed to merge with this Japanese company, and his incompetence almost tears that apart for his law firm. Then Dave, who is in Mitch's body, he is very much... He's sort of, he doesn't want to cheat on his wife. But then again, he's in another man's body. That's not really cheating if he's not... the guy isn't married. And Mitch is not married at all. But he has to fight against that and kind of navigate through Mitch's life and persona. That's what happens, definitely. They realize that kind of life, their lives that they wish to have and they got, are not as rosy and very positive as they think they are. Definitely. But then, a big turning point in this movie comes out. The father of Mitch visits Mitch one day, and he's like, you don't work hard for what you have, you're not basically, you're an underachiever, basically. And that gets under Mitch's skin. And actually, Dave visits Mitch's father, and Mitch's father's like, this guy's an underachiever. He won't really amount to much. He doesn't. He quits on everything he does. And Dave, who is actually Mitch, gets really motivated and really practices at this lawyering stuff. And eventually, he's actually a good lawyer. He actually is good with that amount of practice, and so he gets the merger for his law firm, and he's labeled a hero pretty much in his firm. Then Dave sort of embraces Mitch's lifestyle, and there's this attractive assistant to Dave, played by Olivia Wilde, who, hooks up on a date. Dave, who is Mitch, orders Mitch, who is Dave, to go out on a date with this assistant. And at first, this date is like nothing more than just friends, kind of, nothing much. But then they actually establish a real connection with each other. And Dave is very much actually carefree for the first time in a long time. He doesn't have to worry about anything. His life is very relaxed, and he rolls along with it. And first of all, how many of you would want to get a tattoo with Olivia Wilde and go out to dinner with her and have sex with her? I know I would. She's hot. So, that's essentially what they do. But then Dave gets really guilty of kind of cheating on his wife. There's that dilemma there where he thinks he's actually cheating, when in reality he is in another man's body. His soul is in another man's body. So, you know, but then they go over to, then they realize very quickly that it's not going to work out for them. The lives they assumed are not going to work out for them, so they look to change back, you know, get their old lives back. And there's this dinner, this benefit for